Welcome, everyone, to the Live Well, Love Strong podcast. Today, I have Garia Moore, and she is a mama who I have been watching for a while now. And she just seems to be doing all the right things. And so I wanted to talk to her a little bit this morning about access for our community and like building community and what she's done with her son, Sebastian. So, welcome, Garia.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here, and it's an honor to be a part of your show today.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're here too. Okay, so tell me a little bit about Sebastian and your journey and just kind of like a little bit about y'all's world and then we'll get into the access stuff.
Okay, amazing. So Sebastian is 24. He was born 2 months early, so a 7-monther, 2 pounds 14 ounces when I had him.
Oh, he was
Um,
little.
he
Yeah.
was little bitty. You wouldn't know it now if you saw him, but
No,
yes,
that's right.
but
That's
yes, he
right.
was a little bitty when the doctors basically were just telling me, this is
Take
what
him
you
home and
have.
love him. Right.
Yeah, just like love them, and so I went home. Honestly, I went home thinking everything was fine because he actually only stayed in the hospital for like 6 weeks. And yeah, like he just kept
Wow.
meeting all the milestones and like just
Oh,
going and doing really
yeah.
well. So they were just like, hey, just take him home. As soon as he got 5 pounds and I think it was 14 ounces, they were like, you can take him home. You can take him home. And I was like,
Wow.
okay. So I'm going home with this baby. Both my parents are deceased. I'm like, don't know what to do. It's me. I was living with his dad at the time. So we were figuring it out.
Yeah.
I had him at 30. So I was, pretty set in life. I wasn't trying to have children. So it was like,
Right.
he was
Yeah.
my little special baby that I wasn't expecting to have. That I always say he's the gift that God gave to me that I never knew I needed.
You never
That's
knew it. Right.
I
Yeah. That's
never
good
knew I
stuff.
needed. So,
Yeah.
but with that being said, he, we just went through life together and we tried to figure it all out. I was with his dad for like little before he was 3. I moved away from his dad, and then it was just him and I tackling the world.
Yeah.
And
So
he's
you've
now,
been so I didn't know that. So you've been single mom for all this time.
yeah, since he was basically a little bit about 3 months before he turned 3 is when I moved away from his dad, and it's just been him and I.
That's amazing. I didn't know that. Okay, so this episode is even more impactful then because I am a single mom now too, and it's been
Yeah.
about 5 years. Um, I don't know how you do it all with Sebastian then because you make it look easy from the outside. So let's talk a bit about that. Like how, like in the beginning, when you were
Mhm.
pursuing things for Sebastian, therapies,
Mhm.
treatments, community intervention, play stuff, all the things, like what, how did you know where to go and what to do? Like where were
I
you getting
didn't.
your information from?
I had no idea what to do, where to go, how to make it happen. I honestly just started researching as soon
Yeah.
as I found out exactly what he had. And I honestly didn't even find out that he had cerebral palsy till he was 1.5.
Wow.
Because he wasn't meeting his milestones, and his dad's family was like, there's something going on. And then I had one of my friends saying, like, he's not really, he's looking through people, like when he's
Mhm.
interacting and
Yeah,
that
cortical
kind of
vision
thing.
impairment. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were like telling me that kind of thing. And I was like, well, they're just telling me he's fine. He's just a little bit behind. I'm reading the books and I'm like, yeah,
Mm,
he's like 4 months behind, is what the doctors are telling me. So I'm like, okay, because 2 months in the hospital, 2 months early. That's how
yeah.
I always looked at it. So
Yeah.
basically, once I found out, I got the diagnosis, like I said, when he was 1.5.
Mhm.
Finally, at 1 years old, I told the his primary care doctor, I was like, his pediatrician, I was like, hey, you know, this is what everybody's telling me. What do I do? And so that's when he said, okay, I want you to reach out to ECI. And then he was like, which is childhood intervention, if people don't know, and
Yeah.
then early childhood intervention, should I say, and then also contact neurologists. So he gave me two neurologists to contact. One was 12 months out, and
Yeah.
the other one was like 9 months out. And I was like, I have to wait this long to find out. And so I just asked them at Texas Children's, hey, I want the soonest doctor we can get. And I found one that was like 5.5 months out. We saw him. And he was like, "You're doing all the right things, but I think he has cerebral palsy." And it was just like really hard for me because when
Yeah.
I looked at my son, what I knew is what cerebral palsy looked like. To me, it didn't look like him. And
Right.
so I was really like devastated and just like a mess. And then he
Mhm.
was like, "But no, you're teaching him, you're doing all the things. Just keep on doing what you're doing." And so that is what I did. Like, and he stayed our neurologist till he was like 3. And then that's when they kind of basically told me, um, he didn't really need that much
Mhm.
anymore because they were like, he just needs to keep growing. He just kept telling me like he was retiring, and he,
Mhm.
had this conversation with me. He's like, he is bright, he's able to learn, he's very
Yeah.
engaged, you know, just continue on. And so
Mhm.
that's what I did. And of course we were seeing all the doctors and doing the normal things like
Right.
that. But
Yeah.
yeah, and what I did was just honestly research, found camps because I was a single mom. I wanted to make sure that I
Yeah.
had things he was engaged in besides me because I didn't have family for him to go to. And it was
Mhm.
him and I. And I was like, I need a break and
Right.
he needs time to be independent and learn life without just what it looks like with me. And
Yeah.
so the soonest camp I could find was 7 years old, which was through ECI, Easter Seals. And so
Yeah.
he went at the age of 7, was my first like letting him out and
Yeah.
doing things. And
Yeah.
then we also got involved with the river, which is part of Theater Under the Stars. And he did that from age 6, till he was 20. He did
Mhm.
that. And then we got him involved in baseball and all the sports and stuff, and
Yeah.
just I always tell people I treated him as if he didn't have a special need.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds like it sounds like, and I want to talk a little bit because we talk about
Mhm,
feelings, Gary.
mhm.
It
Yeah,
sounds like you were just like, all right, I'm just gonna keep going and do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. It sounds like
mhm,
you were following your intuition a little bit.
yeah.
But how did that feel like as a mama? Like, did you feel like, oh, I got this, everything's going to be okay? Or were you kind of like, oh, this is very precarious, but I'm just going to keep moving? Like, do you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about? You
I
want that?
yeah, I mean, honestly, exactly what you said. It was like, I don't have any idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just gonna keep going
Keep
because
going.
the way I look at that's how I look at life, period, is like
Yeah.
you have to keep going through it because,
Hmm.
I try to do the things like, join support groups. Honestly, for me personally, support groups are really hard for me because I just felt like people were in there and they just were very emotional and just like it just like took over their whole life. And my thing is, I wanted my child to see me positive and just continue to keep going forward. That's how I teach him. Like, life is hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
Everybody has their thing. But like when I talk to other people who have special needs kids, the things that I say, especially when I'm talking to young moms, uh,
Hmm.
moms and dads, is like, first off, treat them as much as you can like any other child.
Yeah.
You know,
Like it doesn't have to be such a big
just
deal. It's not that
it
serious. That's what
it's
I'm
not.
hearing. Right.
Yeah, it's not. If you get them involved in as much as you can, as soon as you can, they're gonna learn, they're gonna figure out how to navigate life in certain ways.
Yeah.
Sebastian's speech, like, yes, I am blessed. My son is verbal, but he doesn't speak as clear as you and I mean, and
Yeah.
you have to continue to ask him sometimes more than one time, but he navigated that,
Right. And he
without
has a voice now because of
has
that.
a
Right.
voice now. And
Yeah.
I think it's because I didn't, you know, I I hyper focused on him, or that helicopter mom, as they say,
Yeah.
more with school than I did
Mm.
anything else.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I feel like kids are a lot more accepting than we think they are, as soon as they understand what's happening with the person in front of them. You
Yeah.
know, that is what I found because I feel like my navigation was school because school just wanted to keep him in this little box and not
Hmm.
allow him to navigate because he was still, if we're honest, still diapered till this day. He's
Hmm.
24, he's still diapered,
Yeah.
um,
Right.
with those things because he wasn't able to physically get up and go to the restroom and he's in his wheelchair and he can't self propel himself. They just said, well, he needs to be in this kind of classroom setting. But
Mhm.
he didn't because his brain
His
was
brain was not.
ready. Yes, his brain was ready to absorb everything, and it was funny because as he was growing, as when you're looking at elementary and looking at all these different things, the teachers that were working with him, they were just like, I'm sitting up there looking at him because a lot of times, because of our children, it takes so much for them to allow information to be processed. It
Mhm.
seems like they're not engaged, but they
Right.
are. But
Yeah.
they are very engaged. Like, I had a teacher tell me when he was in elementary, she was like, I was sitting there telling him to listen. And as soon as the teacher started asking questions, he started answering all the questions. And I thought he was like sleep, but he
Yeah.
wasn't asleep.
Yeah, that's right. I know.
Yeah, he just had
I
his head down because for him, he kinda had to relax his body because he has
Right.
spastic
He
cerebral
has to
palsy, and
focus on
he
listening
has
versus
to
yeah, it's hard
focus
to do
on
one thing at
listening.
once.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Sometimes I think the new people that meet Mary Elizabeth don't get it. They're like, "I
yeah,
don't think she's interacting at all," or "I don't see any of it." And I'm like, "Oh,
yeah,
she's having like a whole conversation with you, but it's very micro. You have to
yeah,
watch." And yeah, and then she rests in between. And so it
yeah,
looks like she's like checked out,
yeah,
but really she's just giving her head is heavy and it's hard to hold it up. And so she's
yeah,
giving herself a little break. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure, and, I mean, that's the thing is don't ever think that your child with special needs doesn't get things. I think that's a lot of the problem that parents have is that they just assume,
Mhm.
that their child is not receiving. And because you take your child to school and they're telling you all these things that they're not doing,
Right.
you accept that and you forget about um no, they might be wrong because when he did early childhood intervention, like and I had him in all the therapies. I had him in speech, I had him in OT, I had
Mhm.
him in PT, and they were trying to put an MR label on him. And I was like, I just don't believe he's MR. I refuse, which is
Yeah.
mental retardation for people who don't know.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah.
That was really hard for me to accept because I'm engaging with it every day and I know what I would consider, you know, MR is not the same as what
Right.
y'all are trying to put this label. And they were telling me he's not able to talk. They were giving me I forget what it's called, the box, the communication box that they used to have a long time ago. I forget what it's called that they wanted him to use. And I was like, I don't mind him using that because maybe that'll be a second language, but I don't want him to forget that he actually has a voice.
The voice, yeah.
Yeah, because in society, if you do have a voice, whether that is a voice box or whatever, that makes a difference. That's
Mhm.
what his neurologist that kept telling me, you're doing all the things because as long as a person is able to communicate in whichever way that is that they are,
Right, yeah.
they will be able to function in this society because he used to get mad at me all the time. He's like, stop worrying about him walking. Like, because I
Yeah,
was the
me
over
too.
the
I spent a whole, like, 6, 7 years on that, right?
yeah. Oh, I did more than that. So you're better.
Devastating. I mean, still to this day, I'm like, it wouldn't be the worst thing if she could figure out how to walk, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
I've kinda let it go.
Yeah. I was obsessed. Like, I probably did way too much. Sebastian's had over 20 surgeries just
Oh,
trying to
wow.
help him
Yeah,
to walk, and because in our eyes, we want as much as we can for our children, and I just like,
totally.
if he can walk even just a little bit, it's just gonna make life easier for everybody involved. And
Mhm.
so I did all those things. He was in surgery, honestly, from the age of 7 till he was 16 every single summer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every
Elizabeth's
single
had
summer.
a lot of ortho surgeries too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, like, because basically when you have one ortho surgery, you have to get everything taken out. Then you go back in and you're doing it again and you're taking
yeah,
it out. He's had his hips done, 6 times, basically, when you
yeah,
look at it as a whole. He's had his
yeah,
feet reconstructed, all the things we've done to try to make it better when I probably should have just been focusing on speech and, trying to help him self-propel or, use a
yeah,
power chair.
yeah.
So, those are lessons learned, but also too something that I've learned and he reminds me of all the time. He's like, "Mom, if I wasn't who I am today, all the opportunities that we've had and the things that we're doing, we wouldn't have had them."
It's true.
And I am an advocate for my community and I love the life I have, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and you guys are living, like, bright and out loud, and you're
Mhm.
shining, and we're watching, and that is, like, has a huge effect on everybody else. Yeah, he's right about that. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's my biggest thing because that's what he wants. Everything he does, sometimes I feel like people are looking like, oh, he's just, he's somebody who's standing above the rest, but he's not doing it for any other reason that he wants everybody to look at our his community with they
yeah,
can do it. That's
yeah,
what he talks about when he's out and he meets people like, yes, my CP is not going to stop me from being all that I want to be. And that's
right.
he's been doing that since he was in the classroom when he was in, high school. He did a lot of different things for his friends that were nonverbal because they couldn't, but he knew. I mean, it's so interesting to me. I don't know when you're around Mary Kate or like we're around different, ones of our friends,
Yeah,
we I see that he has his own language with them, even though
yeah.
like I might say they're nonverbal. He's like, no, I get what they're saying. I know what's going on. I'm like, oh, okay.
They
So
really do. Yeah, and
they
I mean,
do.
there's like, I mean, that have you watched the telepathy tapes? Have you heard
I
that?
haven't done that.
Yeah, it's I mean, it gets deep, but
Really?
there are, lots of people that believe that, they have their own language and
Yeah.
that, they're communicating constantly maybe in a
Yeah.
way that we don't see or feel or understand. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I believe that.
So, yeah, and he's probably, like, organizing it. Right?
Yeah. No, I think he truly does put it together sometimes,
Yes.
that's I guess out of everything we talked about as, kind of wrapping that conversation up, I just feel like that the best thing as, when you have a younger child with special needs that you can do is don't treat them any different than a
Right.
child, as much as possible. We know that there are things we have to do for our kids that people
Right,
that,
but try
you
to
know,
give them as much access to the normal stuff as you can.
access.
Yeah,
Yes, and also don't limit them. A little story I had when Sebastian I had his 11th birthday party and I rented out the skating ring for him and I was like
yeah,
because I was like this will be really fun because we have some in wheelchairs, some that are walking,
mhm,
it's all different abilities. So it'll be really fun. We rented it out. It was like I had everybody dressed like 60s or whatever, and we
yeah,
had the best time. But Sebastian looks at me, he's like, Mom, I want to go roller skating. And I'm like, okay, let's put these roller skates on. And, we put them on, and I'm like, I can't do this for long because you're 125 pounds, and, and the
yeah.
roller skates weigh whatever they weigh. But let's go, let's do it, And because I've never told him no, like,
Right,
when it comes to things you want to do, we did it for a minute, and he was like, okay, I just wanted to see what it was like, and
yeah, yeah,
that's the thing. Just like I call him my adventure baby because he wants to try everything. He loves I
yeah,
fly, all the things. And I guess
yeah,
that's the thing, as scary as it may be to us, because, a lot of times our children are fragile or there's things that we have to watch out for or be more careful.
yeah.
We got to get out of our own way for our
I
children.
think that's huge. Yeah. And I think I did the same thing. Like I was very overprotective of Mary Elizabeth and I thought that she was fragile.
Mhm.
And she's way more durable than I
Yeah.
gave her credit for. And yeah, and she's a thrill junkie too. So she wants to ride the Tower of Terror. She wants to do all the
Yeah.
roller coaster, and she's like 100%. And I was like, too scared to let it happen. But once I started allowing her to, yeah, to do the things that she said she wanted to do, I realized, oh my gosh, she's an adrenaline junkie. Like she's
Yeah.
all for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also too the things you'll find that like, sometimes it's scary, to like you said, the roller coasters. I'm gonna tell you when Sebastian was your baby's age and younger, like we went to the rodeo every year. I used to just go up and ask him, "Hey, will you let him get on this ride?" And
Yeah.
they, some people were like, "Yeah," some people were like, "No," but we got a lot of yeses.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you just gotta try, like,
Yeah. I like that.
because then you're opening up the opportunity, and you're not even opening up the opportunity just for your child, you're opening up the opportunity for the next person. And that
Totally. And if someone even sees it, then they think, oh, maybe I could do that. Or maybe my niece or my granddaughter could do that, or that sort of thing. Yeah. I love that.
yeah, for sure. So,
What has Sebastian taught you about love and resilience? How has he changed your world?
oh, you're trying to make me cry right
I
now.
know, right? Doing feelings.
So I will tell you that I think God want put me on this earth to be a caregiver.
Yeah.
My mom was on dialysis when I was a kid, and I learned
Mhm.
that. We had her machine at home, and we used to put her on the machine, and I was a caregiver for her. She from
Mhm.
my middle school to high school. My mom pushed me to go to college and do all things. She's like, "You're not here to take care of me," and my dad was still there, in our house, but
Yeah.
I just was the person that took it on.
Yeah.
Um, so I think God prepared me for him, you
Mhm.
know, and because she couldn't walk the last 6 years of her life, and so I already knew what that looked like, and what
Mm.
he's taught me is that there's nothing I can't do. It might be hard,
Yeah.
it might be different, but there's nothing that I can't do, and the way he loves me is like no one else, even though no, he's 24 years old. So know that I get ugly too. I get all of it.
Yeah, no,
But
right.
in that same breath that he might say something that's, teenage young man like whatever,
Mhm.
he will turn around and just say, "Mama, I love you and I appreciate everything that you do for me." And
Yeah.
he's just taught me resilience, that there's nothing out there that can stop you. You just have to keep going. You just have to keep
Yeah. Yeah.
going.
That's the theme, just keep
Yeah.
going.
Just
Yeah,
keep
it's
going.
hard, but keep
Yeah.
going.
But
Yeah.
keep going. Yeah. I mean, we just got back from Marine Corps Marathon, and when I tell you it was a trip from hell, it was a trip from
Oh,
hell.
really? I know, I wanted to hear about it a little bit.
Um, it was a trip from hell. It was our second time doing it, and I'm gonna tell you, like, it's always hard, and I'm sure all people who try to travel with their kid with special needs, Sebastian's 150 pounds now. He
Yeah.
fluctuates with 140, 150 pounds. And when we get on the plane, we have to use the aisle chair. So
Mhm.
the people that do the aisle chair, that's hard because they're looking at him. They don't know what to do with him. His body's tight. He's fighting against them. And I'm like, you just have to pull him. You have to do all the things. And we
Yeah.
get him on there. And, some people are real helpful. Sometimes it's a fight. But
Yeah.
then the major thing, honestly, with traveling, which I wish would change, is number one, I wish there were airlines who did have where we could just roll our children on. You know,
Yes. I
I
feel
know
like I saw
Delta,
years
Del-
ago it was coming, and then I haven't seen anything about it,
Delta,
but
yeah,
yes. Yeah.
Delta had a thing that said that they were going to do it.
Yeah.
But this goes back to what I was saying before. I think the reason why we don't have those, just the same as handicap accessible restrooms for our kids, where it has a change table and all that, is because there's not enough of us out there. We're not I think that the reason why we don't have these things is because we're not seen. From the time Sebastian was
Yeah.
little, like,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, my brother moved here from Michigan, when Sebastian was about 7 or 8, and we went to
Mhm.
the grocery store, like, right before Thanksgiving, and, we're buying our groceries for Thanksgiving. And my brother, when we finished grocery shopping, he's like, "I'm never going grocery shopping with you again." And I was like, "Why?" Because it was me, him, and Sebastian. I was
Yeah.
like, "Why? What's wrong?" He's like, "That is ridiculous." When I take him out, because I usually don't ever see other kids that look like him when we're out.
Right. Yeah.
And so people were stopping wanting to pray for him, people wanting to stop and tell me, "Oh my God, you're a great mom," and just like have these conversations and try to talk to him and all the things. And my brother's like, "What? Why do people do that?" And I'm like, "Because people are fascinated by it because it's not something they see all the time." I
Yeah.
mean,
That's
and
so
so
true.
I
Yeah.
think that we as special needs parents, as hard as it may be, because it is hard, it's a task to get Sebastian up and put him on clothes every day. It's it's literally
Yeah,
a
no, I
whole
mean, I think about that, and for you too, like, just the carrying up and down the stairs, moving from changing table to this table
Mhm,
to the
yeah,
toilet to diapering and putting clothes on him, shoes and everything. It's a
yeah.
workout.
It's a
It's a
workout. You're
workout.
tired, and you ain't
Yeah.
even got yourself dressed. You still gotta get
Right.
yourself dressed. I
Exactly.
mean,
Yeah,
it's
and so we isolate ourselves. I've noticed, as Mary Elizabeth's gotten bigger,
mhm,
I've done a lot of stuff, just a lot less stuff out and about with just her and I for that very reason of like it's so hard. It like
yeah,
takes so much work.
yeah,
And you are right about that. Like we're not seen, we're not visible enough.
We're
And
not visible.
when I think about when rights for disabled people really took off, it was
Mhm.
when we made a visual display on the steps of the Capitol. Yeah.
And that's exactly right. And that's what it needs to be more often. And like I said, I know it's not easy. I'm not saying that what
Yeah.
I'm
No.
saying
Right.
is not easy, but it makes a difference. Like I was saying, we're at the Mean Marathon, like it was just hard to get a ride. I thought I had done my due diligence to
Hmm.
because the guy that had driven us around the last time, I thought he was gonna be our driver. Well, he ended up deciding differently. But with
Yeah.
that being said, it took forever and we missed a lot of things because we just couldn't get a
Couldn't find
handicap
transportation.
accessible ride. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and I think it's because it's not something that is as needed. Like, I mean, people are blessed when they have kids that can take steps, who have CP, who
Yeah.
have Down syndrome, all that. But
Yeah.
when you have a kid that can't, or a person who cannot literally get out of their wheelchair without two or more, one person picking them up and putting it's hard to get a ride. It's
Yeah.
hard to get a ride, and people don't wanna put the, chair in their cab, whatever it is, 'cause it's just it's something they're not used to or seeing, and I will
Hmm.
tell you, the more like the day of the race, we almost didn't make it to the race
Yeah.
because the cab didn't show up, and there was this cab driver was like, "No, I'm not gonna take you." He had a van that was big enough to put us all in, he's like, "No, I'm not doing it," and I was like, "Sir, we came down here for this. Please just
Right.
let us get in this cab." And
Yeah.
he was like, "Fine, if you can do it, just get him in, just do whatever." And I was like, but then when he saw the optics, his whole attitude changed.
Right. Yes. Like sometimes I think
Yeah.
like people, you're right. We need to be seen and heard out and about more because I do think when people actually get outside of themselves and
Yeah.
have some awareness and
Mhm.
see, then there is compassion and empathy that shows up. I do
And
see.
that
Yeah.
yeah. It's so important. I mean, even when we're flying and all those things and just when we're doing all the things, it's people when they see you doing something that they're not used to seeing, they're in awe. Like, I mean, even just on my Facebook page, when I post all the different things Sebastian's doing, you know, they're just like, I mean, I've had people inbox me several times, telling me I'm a great mom. And like, that was the hardest thing for me too, when we talk about like things of how to deal with everyday life. Like, that was so weird to me that everybody kept complimenting me
Does it
on the
make you so
mothers that
uncomfortable? It makes me so
it's
uncomfortable. Yeah.
oh my god, I absolutely hate it
Yeah.
because to me, I'm being a mother. I'm not like, what am
Yeah.
I supposed to do?
Yeah, like
But
what
like,
are the other options? And
what
I
are
mean,
the
there are bad moms out there that put their handicapped kids in all sorts of terrible situations,
yeah,
but that's a very small
it is.
population. The same
Yeah,
as with people who have neurotypical kids. Yeah, that's how I feel too. It's like what we're just doing what we would think is the right thing to do next. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
totally.
you're just being a mother. Like, that's how it's simply, I'm just being his mother. Like, and
Yeah.
whatever that looks like, great, but I'm just being his mom. And so that's an uncomfortable feeling to me. And I still to this day feel uncomfortable about it. But the thing about it is, I always take time to talk to people. Like when I was
Mhm.
telling you, like out and about since he was little. If I do see someone when we're in the mall who has autism or who has any kind of disability, even elderly, I always made sure Sebastian went over and
Yeah,
spoke to them.
me
And
too.
like,
Yeah.
because that matters too, because people are usually staring. So instead of
Right.
staring, if you go over and speak, it makes a difference. So
Yeah.
those are things. And also, too, that's how you find out about other things. I mean, the most information that I've ever gotten about anything that's out there is like taking time to talk to another mom,
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
that,
no, and that's what I'm trying to do with this is like, yes, the
yeah,
moms are the ones who are knowledgeable, who have lived it, who have the wisdom, and who are willing and open to sharing their experiences and like want to. Like I feel like you want to. I want to. Like I think
yeah,
it's important to share the information with
yeah,
everyone else so that they don't have to do it all over again on their own. Like
and
when
also
you're by
don't get
yourself, right, in the very
Yes,
beginning
and
and
don't
instead
get
of
caught up in, like, just give the people the information, and, like, even though I'm gonna tell you right now, I've given out so much information, I used to carry pamphlets with me, all the
yeah,
things.
I can imagine.
I mean, I'm a little obsessive because I just want everybody to have that
Right.
same opportunity, but
Yeah.
with that being said, like, you're only gonna have less than a handful that are even gonna take advantage of the things that you share.
Right.
But
Yeah.
don't let that discourage you because it's a beautiful thing. My friend Paige that you had on the show already, like Paige, I helped her with getting Anna in camp because she was scared. And that's how we met is one of my high school friends who doesn't have a special needs child, but is friends with Paige, who was like, you need to call Garia. So Paige called me and her
Oh,
and
I
I
didn't know
started
that's how y'all
talking.
met. Yeah, so
That's how
you
we
got
met.
Anna in camp, and then she
We,
got
and then
Mary
she
Elizabeth
got me
in
an
camp,
angel.
and so that's how it works. Is it's
Yeah,
this ripple effect or this
yeah,
spider web of
yeah.
interconnection between all of us. And I feel the same way. It's like it doesn't have to be for everybody, but like the one person that needs to hear it is going to hear it, and that's all that matters. Yeah.
Exactly. That's perfectly said because it can be discouraging because sometimes you don't want to give information because you're like, why am I wasting my time? Because nobody's going to grab a hold of it. But that one person makes a huge difference and it makes a huge difference in their life once they do it because the few people who have actually taken on to the information that I've passed on, it's literally changed those families' lives, like in big ways, just like, Anna changed Anna and Paige changed our lives with Ames
Yeah.
Angels. It changed their life with camp,
Yeah,
because
totally.
they
There's
loved
a
it.
mama in our group. I don't know if you know her, Amber.
Mhm,
Her daughter passed away last year, but
mhm.
she had made a packet for Rider 28, which is
Oh,
our
well, yeah.
NDPC waiver
Yay.
program. The way, and when we were moving from Louisiana to Texas, I don't know how I got hooked up with her, but she sent me the packet. I did the work, got Mary
Mhm.
Elizabeth what I needed, and I have probably sent that packet to 30 moms since then, and they have probably sent that packet to, and so it's like that has affected so many people in this
Yeah.
area, with her just sending it to one person. Yeah, right.
And then there's moms that do stuff like that, like Mikey's Guide. I don't know if you ever heard of that. She's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
my neighbor, actually. Or we just moved, but she was my neighbor, and Mikey went to school with Sebastian. And
yeah,
so, like, she did that guide because she knew there's
yeah.
not things out there. Um, Eileen Hines was the first person to do
Yes,
a booklet like that, but
yes.
I got a chance to meet her when Sebastian was in middle school because the doctors like saw that I'm trying to do all these things for Sebastian. So they did a meeting with us where
Amazing.
she could
Yeah,
help me and walk me through it. So I was blessed to meet her too.
yeah,
So it's like great people out there. And, she ended up working for Texas Children and helping families out. So, I
yeah.
mean, it that's how we make it happen and that's how we make it better for one another is through podcasts like yours and it's just passing on the information however we can.
Exactly. Yeah, totally, totally. Okay, I love that. I want to change gears for just a second.
Okay.
How do you take care of yourself, while also taking care of Sebastian? Like, what are you doing for you?
I think that's the hardest for all of us
Yeah,
is finding that time. But I will tell you that I feel like I did it more as he's gotten older than I did when he's younger because I'm be honest, I just kind of dove into him. I
right.
didn't really date a lot. I didn't do anything. I just was like, it's about Sebastian. And because I didn't have a lot of people that he could go to, and I do
Mhm.
want to mention that. I know you want me to talk about myself, but I was just gonna say is that whatever you put your kid in, like I always look, we're on different special needs moms groups, and people are always looking for people to help take care of their children. I'm going
Mhm.
to tell you one of the biggest blessings that I had is that I had a lot of people when he was at the river or when he was doing camp or whatever, people that would give me their numbers and say, I'll watch Sebastian.
Yeah, that's
So,
pretty
like,
cool.
think about that too when you're looking at caregiving because a lot of those young people now are therapists or they're doing something in
Right.
the field. So, like, don't be afraid to leave your kid with someone who might be a high school or college student who really is engaged because if they're volunteering at these places, most likely this
They
is
have a
something
passion or a connection. Yeah, I love that.
exactly.
We've had
Yeah.
several helpers over the years who were high school, college kids who are now
Mhm.
occupational therapists or
Yeah.
physical therapists or speech therapists.
Yeah.
And they were super young, but
Yeah.
they also had so much energy and enthusiasm and love and compassion and kindness. And it was really cool. Yeah.
And that's passed on to them because of somebody that's closer in their age, because that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing with our kids. A lot of times they're just around adults all the time. And so
Yeah.
when they're younger and they can find people who are they can relate to more, it makes a huge difference too.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go back to
Well,
myself.
tell me
The
about you,
things
Gary.
about me is I think so. I have been blessed to have a wonderful circle around me, and I
Mm,
have met more and more people, honestly, through things that I've done with my son. Like,
yeah.
I mean, in high school, he was in drama. So, like, there's a club called Drama Mamas, and we still to this day, even though he's not in high school, we all get together and go to lunch and do things.
Yeah.
And I have lifelong friends that I still go to lunch with. I try
Mm,
at least once or twice a month to make sure that I'm going to lunch or dinner. I still travel. I have
mm.
someone who I have that can watch him, and I usually will go on a trip at least once or twice a year.
Love it.
Um,
Yeah.
because we need that time.
You
And
have to get away. I didn't
you
even know that
have
until
to.
I got divorced and I had my first week off in 10 years.
Yeah,
And it took me like 2 or 3 days
yeah,
just to like turn off the hypervigilance, you know,
yeah,
to stop listening and to stop being on. And then those next couple of days were just like something that I hadn't experienced, you know, in a
yeah,
really long time. And I realized like I do the same thing of like I have to go to the beach once a year. It's like my life depends on it. I know
yeah.
that. Yeah.
No. No,
Yeah.
it's true. I mean, I will tell y'all to make you laugh, and I'm sure I'm not the only mom, but like Sebastian, like I said, has been going to camp since he was 7. He was gone for a whole week. I did not actually leave and do anything when he was at camp until he was almost 12
Believe it.
because I just kept thinking they're
Yeah.
going to call me and tell me I need to come get him. And
Yeah.
also, too, the crazy mom, I can hear him calling me. I know he's here still, even though I know he's at camp. Like, he
Yes.
needs me. Like, I don't know what to do.
Yes.
It took me a long time to like,
Yeah.
he's fine. Go
Yeah.
do you. Go do you.
Mhm.
You have to have that you time where you can rejuvenate, where you
Mhm.
can, for you can just feel pretty. Like, I mean, it just feels
Yeah.
nice to put on some clothes and
Mhm.
makeup and, you just go and enjoy time with your friends. You have to make that time. It matters. Also, too, like just the simple things of if you can, go somewhere and just go read a book or go somewhere and go get, a mani pedi, just those few hours,
Yeah.
schedule something for yourself once a week that's for you. There's times that I just tell Sebastian, guess what? I've fed you, I've done everything. I'm going in my room today. Like I
Yeah.
can't, I need me time today.
Yeah,
Like,
and I think about I used to feel so guilty about it initially,
mhm,
like when I was first starting to take care of myself and give
mhm,
myself like breaks
mhm,
and time and
mhm,
access to friends and things that I like. I
mhm,
felt really guilty. But the more I did it, the better I felt. And then I realized like, oh my gosh, I'm so much happier with Mary Elizabeth and I'm so much happier in the life that we're doing together, which we said is really hard. And so it's like, oh, it helps me do the hard stuff with a better attitude or with just a lighter, I don't know, it's just like a lightness
yeah.
that I get whenever I'm not around her and I'm filling my cup. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
you have to fill your cup. I mean, I don't know, and I think it's burnout. Like when you
Yeah, it's
I
burnout.
mean, and the thing about it, it's different when you have a kid that's able-bodied and can handle things for themselves versus someone who needs you for everything that they do.
Yeah,
Because if I mean, think about it, you're blessed you have a child who doesn't have special needs. So like even when he was younger, if he needs something out the kitchen, he can go open the refrigerator, he can go in the pantry and
yeah,
get everything. But
yeah.
Sebastian can't do anything unless, I mean, he
Right.
calls
Like
my name
every
and
single
says,
little thing
"Yeah,
they're
every
dependent
little
on.
thing."
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you have a break and you literally don't have to get up and go do every little thing for this human, and also too, you have to think about you got to do it because most likely that's what the rest of your life is going to look like.
Yeah.
Sebastian is 24 now. He's still at home with me and it's still him and I.
Right.
So you need those breaks because it's a lifelong commitment. It's
Right.
not just, till they're 18, you know.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing too, unless you're one of those parents that plan to, put them in some kind of center or something. So
Right. Yeah, no, totally. I know it's a lifelong thing. So when you are going to lunch with your friends or going to dinner or going on vacation and sending your kiddo to camp, um do you feel like, because we talked about the connection, so
yeah,
I'm going off topic, so
it's
hopefully I can
okay.
make this, but I really
Love
wanted to ask you this because I think
it.
it's
Love
important.
it.
Um we sometimes will say like it feels like we're one with our kid, but then we're also two separate people, and it's like kind of bizarre, and it's like how do you figure that out? um are you able to, or were you able from the beginning to be able to separate from that and be Garia and fill Garia's cup? Or how hard was it? This is for my new mamas, right, who are going to try to ease into
Yeah.
the, how hard is it to separate from that and to turn that off so that you can feed into your cup? Because you can go to the dinner, but if you're talking about your kid or you're worried about your kid or you're anxious about your kid, it's kind of like cancels it out a bit, so so there's
Yeah.
like a nuance of like the time that you're spending away from your child has to be specific in some ways, right?
Yeah, no, you're totally correct. I will tell you, um, with me and you and I, we're single. And so I
Yes.
think it's different for someone who really is the sole, person for
Yeah.
your person,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it took me a while. Like I said, I pretty much it
Because
took
you
me
did
5 years.
7 to 12 for camp,
Yeah,
and so I like
I was
that's what I was thinking, and it's what I
yeah,
do with Mary Elizabeth too. It like
yeah.
takes me a while. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and it like even when he's gone, I feel like it takes me almost 2 to 3 days just to
Yeah. Okay.
realize, "Hey,
Same. Okay.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
hey, he's not here anymore. You can move
Like
around. You
your
can
body's free. Like I
yeah,
almost
you're
feel like there's something attached to me, and I'll like leave the house, and I'm like, what am I missing?
yes.
Or my keys. I'm like, no, I have my keys. Oh, it's my kid.
Yeah, no, like I said, I literally thought I would wake up in the night and think I hear him calling me. So
Yes.
it's that
Yeah.
it because you're used to
Yeah.
having that responsibility.
Yeah.
So the sooner that you can release that is the better. It took
Okay.
me, 11 or 12 years old was when I feel like I really finally released him.
Yeah.
And now I'm really great at it,
Yeah,
and
that's good.
but
Okay.
it took me a while. Like I'm not, we're human. And
Yeah.
if you have a responsibility and you are somebody who truly um gives it the best parts of you, it's hard to release that,
Yeah.
when you're trying to go enjoy yourself. Now I can, and I'm blessed too because Sebastian tells me, "Mom, you need to go." Like
Yeah.
that now he tells me you need to go. And there
Yeah.
were times where Sebastian was jealous of anyone that was here,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, like they're taking my time. Like there
Yeah.
was,
Totally. Yeah.
so yeah, for sure. Like what you're saying, don't be mad at yourself, but do your best to try to release that as soon as you can. But the
Yeah.
sooner that you release it is when you allot for that separation. Like,
Totally. And it feels really uncomfortable at first. So I want to put it out
yes.
there. It's not like you release it and oh my gosh, like this is awesome. I'm like living the dream with my friends and I don't have not a care in the world.
Yeah.
It is like really uncomfortable. And for me, tell me if you felt this way too, Gary. Because I spent, over a decade like pouring into my children and didn't really pour into myself at all, I kind of forgot what I liked, what I didn't like. Like I had no preferences of my own. So I had to figure out, do I like this? Do I like that? Would I prefer, like what are my preferences?
Yeah.
Um, and so that's another thing that I think is something that we do as mamas.
And then I was gonna say as moms, period. Like I've said earlier, I when I explain my life with Sebastian, I explain it as if it's like any other mom, you
Yeah.
know? And and I think we all moms go through what you just said,
Yeah.
because when other moms that might know now, I know, I went through it a few years ago, but like my friends are empty nesters and they're like,
Yeah.
I don't know
And they've
what to
lost their
do. They
mind.
have lost who they are
Yeah,
because they've poured everything into their kids. Their whole
yeah,
life was their kids,
yeah,
and they do not know what to do with themselves. That to me is the same experience that you and I are talking about right now.
exactly. Yeah,
You know, it's the same. And that's how I try to look at life. Like I've said throughout the podcast, is like, we're really no different than if you're and I don't know what the definition of a good mom is, but if you're a good mom who's given, most of yourself to your child or children, you know,
mhm,
it's hard when you let them go. And, even in society now, look at, I have two really good friends who, even though I say, well, when they go to college or whatever, I have two friends that have kids the same age as my son who are still in their home,
right.
and they don't have any special need. So
Yeah,
your parenting never ends. It's just a
yeah,
different kind of thing. And that's
yeah.
how I guess I kind of look at life as a whole with him, is that he needs me, but even if he was typical, he's still gonna
I
need me.
love that you said that. That's actually because your kids are always gonna need you. It
Yeah,
just looks a little different with
in a
our
different
kids
way.
of what specific needs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
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 that's why I kinda, for me, sometimes I feel like us as special needs moms sometimes feel like we're privileged in a certain way, or that we should be felt in a privileged way. But honestly, no, there's things that we need. And I'm gonna tell you that every time I think I couldn't make it, every time I was going through something, it just seemed like there was no, if you surround yourself around people who love you
yeah,
and want the best for you, because like I said, I lost my parents when I was in my 20s.
yeah,
So, and my brother didn't live here for years, and so when you don't have someone that you can call and that's family, and it's just your friends. And I've even listened to you sometimes talk about friends who don't have special needs. I don't know if I'm just blessed, but I feel like my friends that don't have special needs, they pour into Sebastian more than I do sometimes. I just feel like they get it. Like
yeah.
they,
But
I,
you've curated that village, right? You've
yeah,
curated that community.
yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yeah. And I think that's what it is. Like, don't be afraid, like,
Yeah.
of that, of curating. People, when they see you pushing and doing so much to make whatever it is for your person, they're going to want in on that because they're just going to be like, look at this person. Oh
Yeah.
my God, let me see what I can do. Like, when I've had to fundraise or whatever it is, they've, my people who've never met Sebastian just jump in. They know me, but they've never met him because
Yeah.
they're just so, you know, uh, in awe of what has happened throughout his life and how I've done life through him. And that's how you get your village. That's how
Yeah.
and that's, I guess that's the thing. And like I said, I know my life and the way I've gone through life with Sebastian is not for everybody. And I'm not trying to say that it is. But what I am saying to you is that whatever it is, just as if you had any other typical child, do
Yeah.
your best to try to find that thing for your child, for your
Yeah.
person, whatever that is, try to find it.
Yeah, I love that. And you are doing things really right because Sebastian is healthy and strong and happy and has a community, and so do you. And so, like, those are things that we're trying to recommend for mamas. Like, we're trying to say, do not isolate yourself. Build
Yes,
community,
that part. Do not.
find
Yes.
support. I mean, those are the things that we're really pushing. And I think the want to isolate is real high. The logistical need to isolate is real high. And
Yeah.
you have to fight against that and get
Yeah.
out there and
Yeah.
meet your people and build your community. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the part, the do not isolate yourself, because I think that's what you feel alone. You feel
Totally.
alone.
Makes
I'm
it
not
worse.
saying I've never felt alone. I have,
Right.
but you can't allow that to take over what if you just put that one foot in front of the other and try. Um,
Yeah.
and you're not always as healthy. I tore my quad through the pandemic and I still am, I think I shared that with you. I'm still not 100% because I didn't do everything I was supposed to do for myself to get back healthy. So I still got a little limp and look crazy. But I'm still going through it with him and doing all the things. It might take me a little longer to do it, but I do it,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. There's always things that will hold you back
Hmm.
from, pushing yourself, and that's in any situation in life, but you gotta just keep going. I mean, that's my major
Going.
motto. Get your kids involved in everything, no matter if they're typical or not typical, and let them find that, and then you're gonna find yourself through that because that's how I, created my community because
Right.
I met people from things that I did. And I've also, because I'm single, I've had to work the whole time,
Yeah.
when I've had him too. And,
Yeah.
I had to completely change careers. I had to do a
Yeah.
lot of different things to make it work for him because I didn't want anybody else to raise my child. And I
Yeah,
know
I
this,
feel this. I'm in the same
yeah,
boat of like,
yeah,
how can I be creative and hustle and
that's what it,
continue to keep her with, yeah, with myself and the people that I trust and care. Yeah,
there
about.
you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, what can we do? And this might be redundant, but what can we do to better support families with children with disabilities, like new ones? Are there
Be an
ideas?
open book. Be an open book. Tell them as much as you can. If somebody asks you one question, give them 10 other things, along with
Yeah,
it,
that's really good.
Like,
Yeah,
just keep and like I said, don't ever say no. Like, if some because I have people call me, friends of mine that have a kid with special needs, and they're like, they're just lost. They need, I talk to them,
me too. I always talk. I will never say no.
Yeah,
Sometimes I might not have time and I'll have a conversation and then I'll send them to someone else. But yeah, I would never not talk to another mama who's in that
yeah.
position. Yeah.
And that's the major thing because we're the best advocates for our kids.
Yeah.
Doctors, I mean, even when I would like even in high school, they have those people that I mean, when you're in school that like tell you there's things out there for your kid. I know there's things out there. Okay, but I've learned that when I would go in there, I had more things to tell them about what was out there than what they
That's
knew
right. Yeah.
because I've always just like one person tells me one thing, I keep asking more questions, I keep finding, I pass on information. Even when people don't ask me to pass on information, I pass it on because it might not fit for me, but it'll fit for someone else I know.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the thing is just keep encouraging and giving as much information as you can out there. And like I said, I probably look like the traveling, person with all the pamphlets or whatever, but I kept them in my car, kept them in my purse or my bags or Sebastian's backpack, whatever it was. And I passed that information
And
off.
you know how many kids have gone to camp now because of you, right?
Well, and I hope
Yeah.
that that is it.
And how
Or
many mamas has had a break because of
yeah,
you, right? To
yeah,
send their
or
kid to camp.
gotten, their kids have just they've
Yeah.
they've gotten involved in something,
Yeah.
because like I said, as many that it doesn't stick, there's one that will stick. And
Yeah.
like I said, when you're able to actually see it happen and see what because you took that moment, especially when Sebastian was in therapy and stuff. Like
Yeah.
I used to like I would look at kids, I'm like, oh, they would be so good for this. Let me give
Right.
this mom this pamphlet, get them going. And like, there's
Yeah.
one kid that I did that for, and he's now with Tuts. He's traveled all over the place, and he's
Oh,
got
yeah.
opportunities for commercials and all kind of things. And
Yeah.
they were in high school. They were a young
Mhm.
couple that had this
Yeah.
special needs
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's the best thing you can do. Like, and that's the best way we're gonna make this world better for our kids. It's just to keep
Yeah.
passing on the information. But I
Mhm.
just encourage all moms, dads, parents, whatever, caregivers, like just get them out there and get involved, because what you get from it, it's worth like they get one thing, but you get a whole nother because
Yeah,
you
I was gonna
create.
say, we talk about we could we could do this for our kids, yes, and it's the
Yeah,
right thing to do and all the things, but, like, also, there's a bonus because what we get from it,
yeah. That's how I
is
met you.
sustaining and life-giving. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I met you, Apes and Angels. Like,
It is, yeah.
and you have that one conversation and it sticks because I know one day you and I at a race, I think it was Mother's Day. We talked that whole,
We did, we
time
had a
that
cocktail and talked the
yeah,
whole
and we
time. That's
talked, yeah.
it.
And so like that's how you add on to your
Yeah.
community. And even though you and I don't talk all the time or anything like that, we connected on that day. And I feel like whenever we see each other, it just we started back up again, you
Yeah,
know?
totally. And I feel like, yeah, even though we don't talk all the time, I could
Mhm.
call you and ask you any question. And if you called me and asked me any question, it wouldn't be a thing. It would just be,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And that's
good.
how you build your community, and that's how, we get the information out there. That's how why you probably called me today, because it's like, "Oh, here we go. Garia, we
Right?
had that connection. Here's another way." As many
Yeah,
moms as we can get. There's a
yeah,
lot of different groups out there, and there might be a group you try. Like I said, I tried, the different support groups. For me,
yeah.
that didn't work, but there's other things that I've
Yeah, and
done.
some people might like it, right? Yeah, and I
Exactly.
didn't I didn't care for the online support groups because they kept me in kind of a victim mode, and it was kind of
That's
sad
a
and
good way to
doom
say
and
it.
gloom. But I did need that for a minute,
Yeah.
right? I needed to feel my feelings and lean into the grief or whatever, and then I needed to get out of that and get moving. So yeah, so I feel like there's something for you. Just get out there and
Yeah.
look and keep going.
Yes, and like it's funny because I was thinking about Paige with that I forget the name of it, but the online group we do where it's mostly Katie moms. I thought, well, it's
Oh,
Katie and
special
special
moms.
moms,
Yeah,
special moms.
yeah.
So first time Paige was telling me that, I was like, I don't know if I want to really do that. Oh my God, like that's one of the best groups
It is
because
the best group. Yeah.
oh my God, like to get like supplies and like when people need stuff, like you get on there, you get things that you might have that somebody else can use. Like that's a game changer.
Last question, Garia.
Okay.
What are you doing right now in your life to live well and love strong? Anything specific?
I feel like to live well and live strong, I will continue to live vicariously through my son because honestly, that's what's kept me strong and kept me going. But the beautiful thing that I'm finding, I'm 54 years old now. And can I tell you, I'm living vicariously through just the beautiful friends and that are around me. Like
Yeah,
they lift me and just bring me so much joy and like things that I never thought I would ask people around me. They're always there. Like I
yeah,
don't want. Like and that's what's kept me living and going strong. Like when I think tomorrow there's no way, like we just moved into a new house and like it's just I didn't even know that was going to be a thing and it just kind of happened. But
yeah,
to live well and live strong is just honestly your community and my son. Those are the things that help me live well and live strong. And I just have to mention I have a beautiful 90-pound dog that I love too that keeps me
Woo!
keeps me
What's the
grounded.
dog's name? Yeah, keeps you
Hera. She is my
there.
little joy. She's I guess she's not little, but whenever I feel like I just need that extra hug, she's here too. So
Yeah, I love
yeah.
that. I think that I've told you this before, and I told Paige this too whenever I was trying to invite you, of like when I see you from afar out and about and I see Sebastian, I can see the joy, I can see the peace, I can see the connection, I can see the love, I can see the light, like not to be woo woo, but like I can see it all. And I can tell that you truly have built your community. And so I think that's awesome. And I hope that the new mamas will take your advice to get out there and keep going, y'all. Keep going.
Keep going. Be your best you and it's okay to live some of that through your child because what it's going to bring you
Yeah.
along the way because like I said, that building the community. I mean, like I said, that's how we met. That's how me and Paige met. Like you're building the community and you're gonna meet people along the way that you're gonna stick to like glue and they're never gonna go anywhere. That's gonna keep
Yeah.
you going as well. So yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you, Garia, for coming on. It was so good to see your face and
Yeah.
talk to
It's
you for
always
an
good to
hour.
see you. Thank you so much for inviting me. It
Yeah,
was great.
definitely. All right. Okay. So we'll see you later.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.